to dream, afraid to imagine. But I'm here to tell you that you are an infinite, limitless, boundless being. Are you willing to do what is necessary to have what you desire?
Thank you for joining us. Please take a moment and like the Facebook page. Subscribe to the YouTube page and hit the notification bell so you'll be notified when we go live. If you are finding value in these enrichment sessions, please consider supporting this page financially. Your donations allow us to continue to provide spiritual enlightenment, self-exploration, and kingdom knowledge. Also, consider becoming a partner because partnerships have this privilege. As a partner, you'll be able to attend our annual Partners Only Summer Summit, join us for our 6 a.m. virtual daily guided meditation sessions, weekly advanced empowerment sessions, regular prophetic insights and instructions, 30% discount on all Emerge books and merchandise, and a custom Emerge t-shirt. You'll also gain full access to the private Emerge Movement community page as well as group chats. Once again, thank you for watching.
And good morning to each and every one of you, and welcome to the Emerge Empowerment Session. I am your host, Isaac J. Miles Sr., and I am ecstatic that you have decided to join me in this conscious conversation this morning. It's going to be a really impactful and powerful one this morning. So you are tuned into the right place at the right time. One of the most powerful places on the planet, certainly on the internet. And so I invite you to engage in the conversation. Get your pen and pad, paper, whatever you need, and make sure that you're able to take notes and record the information that we'll be sharing with you today, as well as to contribute to the conversation. You are invited in the comments to ask your questions or to give your thoughts and be a participant in this conversation so that we can all learn and grow together. Now, I'm going to ask those of you who are watching me right now, and it just seems to be a handful of us this morning, so I don't know where everybody's at. But those of you who are on right now, do me a favor. Let's put the word out. Let's share this live on your page so that everybody will be alerted that we're on the air and they can come over and join the conversation. And then also tag as many people as you can in the comments. Tag all of your friends, your family, your cousins, your mom and them, your daddy and them, and all the rest of them. And invite them to come over and be a part of the conversation with us today. Also, make sure that you like this live broadcast or love or whatever emoji that you want to use. But the more you hit the like button, the more it increases the reach of the platform, working with the algorithm on Facebook, as well as those of you who are watching us on YouTube Live. I appreciate your presence here. Even if there are only a few of us here, it's perfectly fine with me because I just want to communicate the message to those who are hungry and those who are interested in learning more, going further, and digging deeper. And so we're going to have a really good, robust conversation this morning surrounding a subject that you may not be completely familiar with, but you may be familiar with some of the concepts that are involved in this particular law that we're introducing to you today. So we're going to talk about creating your world, and then that in conjunction with the law of reversibility. Now, you may have never heard of reversibility before, but that's going to be remedied by the time we finish this conversation this morning. Creating your world, the law of reversibility, creating your world using the law of reversibility. Okay, so if you're ready, let's dig in. I'm going to be trying to watch the comments as we go along in the conversation to make sure that I'm able to include any of your comments that are here. So that we can have a good, like I said, strong and robust conversation this morning. Let's talk about this. The law of reversibility. I know that terminology alone may be very new to you, but I can guarantee that you have observed the concept of this particular law in action and just may not have known the formal name for it or understood what it was. But this is an absolute universal law. Now, remember, when something is a law, then it is in operation at all times. And how you engage with that law will determine what your outcome of its presence is. That the law is not biased, it's impersonal. It's not designed to gravitate toward one and away from others. It doesn't play favorites. It simply exists and consistently operates in the kingdom of God or in the universe, whichever terminology you desire to use. And so when we talk about this law of reversibility, it is always present. It is always operating. The key is to be aware and conscious of its presence, how it functions and operates, so that we're able then to use that law for our own good. It was designed by God, all of the laws of the universe, designed by God and put in place for our good. When we were released from the ether, from the mind of God, and put into this three-dimensional form, God had already put in place this universe, this earth realm, this three-dimensional existence, and then encompassed it and intertwined it with universal laws. And those laws were designed to equip us, to aid us, and assist us in creating, cultivating, and curating the life that we desire, that we might have life and that we might have it how? More abundantly, that we might experience what abundant life is. And I've got news for those of you who are listening to me, maybe for the first time and you're uninitiated. The abundant life is possible for every human being on the planet. Everyone can experience and live the abundant life. Doesn't matter whether or not you ascribe to a particular religious ideology or not. Doesn't matter whether you are black or white or Asian or Indian or of Hispanic descent. It doesn't matter if you are from America or in Europe or in Africa or from some other country or have some other nationality. These laws are universal and they apply to whosoever will. Everybody has the opportunity and the capacity to live the abundant life. Second thing about law is that they're not magic. They're not hocus pocus. They're not abracadabra. You have to intentionally, deliberately engage with these spiritual laws, these practical principles, practices, and patterns in order to create and curate the life that you desire. Please understand that it's not like pie in the sky where something's going to drop down and just fall in your lap, and then all of a sudden, poof, you're going to be living the abundant life. You have to actively engage and participate in your own success, because we all live in the matrix of the reality that we create for ourselves. I say that all the time. It's one of my favorite quotes that I came up with. You should know this. We all live in the matrix of the reality that we create for ourselves. And today we're going to discuss another law that is put in place to aid you in creating that reality that you desire. If you're ready, let's go. Let's talk about what the law of reversibility is in brief. And then after summarizing it, I will go into more detail and we'll unpack what this law is, how it operates, and how we can use it to cultivate and curate our life, our reality. The law of reversibility is a concept used primarily in the context of philosophy, psychology, metaphysics, and science, especially within the framework that was established by a prolific New Thought writer by the name of Neville Goddard. He's an absolutely profound writer. Anything that you can find written by Neville Goddard, you need to get your hands on it and read it as many times as you can, digest it. He has such great and powerful understanding of the spirit world, of how the kingdom operates. He's a powerful author. So I advise you that if you see anything by Neville Goddard, grab it. There's a book that is on point to this conversation that we're having this morning that's called The Feeling is the Secret, that I would suggest to everyone. It's in my top 10 books that I always recommend. I have a list of 10 books that I highly recommend to everybody. Whenever someone asks me about, well, what's a good book I should read, I got a top 10 list. And The Feeling is the Secret is on that list by Neville Goddard. This law, the law of reversibility, essentially states that the cause and effect relationship is reciprocal. Let me say that again. This particular law, the law of reversibility, states that the cause and effect principle or law is reciprocal, meaning that if a particular result can be produced by a certain cause, then that cause can be produced by the effect. Let me say it again. That if a specific reality or result can be produced by the seeds of causation that create a desired an effect, then likewise, the effect can also induce and create the cause. In other words, any mental state or condition that is caused by an external event can be reverse engineered and induced by adopting the feeling or the state of mind, or both of them, that would result in the event. Now that may not gel too quickly or right away, but we're going to dig deeper into it and we're going to unpack it, and I guarantee you'll grasp this concept before we're done. Let's begin by breaking down how the law of reversibility is understood by dealing with first the law of cause and effect. The universal law of cause and effect states that for every effect, there is a definite cause. Likewise, for every cause, there is a definite and predictable effect. That the seeds of causation have a predictable, consistent effect. So that essentially, if you find out what the effect is that you desire, all you have to do is trace the effect back to the seed of causation and replicate what the cause is, and it will produce the same effect. Every action has a corresponding reaction or a consequence. We essentially and actually have the power to create the outcomes and the realities that we desire by simply finding and replicating the root cause. If you can figure out what the cause is, then you can replicate that cause and produce the corresponding effect. Are you understanding what I'm saying? This is how cause and effect works. This is often referred to as the granddaddy of all the universal laws. It is like the umbrella for all of the other laws that govern the kingdom or that govern the spirit world or the universe. Cause and effect. Everything operates in the world by cause and effect. However, when you consider the law of cause and effect, this law, through the lens of science, then we encounter the law of reversibility. When you examine the law of cause and effect through the lens of science, you run headlong, front-facing into the law of reversibility. I'm going to use an example that's very familiar and that'll be easily understood, that is both scientific, but also raises a spiritual principle. Let's talk about ice. Okay? Everyone knows that ice as a solid can become a liquid, which is water, and then that liquid can become a gas, H2O. All of it is H2O, but H2O in different forms. A solid, which is ice, and a liquid form, which is water, but then also as a gas. Okay? Melting the solid, it becomes a liquid. When ice, solid water, is heated and its temperature reaches 0 Celsius or 32 degrees Fahrenheit, then it begins to melt. Okay? Whenever the temperature reaches that 32 degrees Fahrenheit, 0 degrees Celsius, it begins to melt. At this point, the added heat energy breaks the bonds between the molecules that keep them in a solid structure, and as a result, the solid ice turns into liquid. The molecules begin to break apart. It no longer holds its form and shape as ice, and now it melts down and becomes a liquid that we call water. Okay? But then the liquid can be turned to gas through the process of evaporation. This process occurs when the liquid water is heated to the point where the molecules gain enough energy to break free from the liquid surface and to become water, vapor, or gas. Evaporation can happen at a temperature below the boiling point, but it is most rapid when water reaches its boiling point. That's usually about 100 degrees Celsius or 212 degrees Fahrenheit. Okay, that's boiling. When water reaches that particular temperature, then the liquid then begins to evaporate and turns into a vapor or into a gas. In everyday conditions, evaporation happens and often occurs on the surface of the liquid. Boiling the liquid into gas. Boiling is a specific type of evaporation that occurs throughout the liquid, not just at the surface. It happens when the liquid's temperature reaches its boiling point, again about 212 degrees Fahrenheit, 100 degrees Celsius. It reaches its boiling point, causing bubbles of vapor to form within the liquid, and raises it to the surface, resulting in a rapid transition from liquid to gas. You pour water into a pot, bring it to a boil, and let it continue to boil, and eventually the water evaporates. Where did the water go? It has now turned into a gas, a vapor, and it is up into the atmosphere. Did it disappear? Does it no longer exist? Oh, it absolutely continues to exist, but now it exists in a gas form. Well, ladies and gentlemen, this process from solid ice to liquid water, from liquid to gas or vapor, is also done in reverse. Are you following me? The gas form of water, vapor, returns to liquid form when the molecules are cooled, and it becomes what we call condensation. Condensation, this is the process where gas, such as water vapor, cools down and begins to lose some of its energy, causing the molecules to come closer together by slowing down, and they begin to form a liquid. For example, water vapor in the air can condense into liquid water droplets that we call rain and condensation, which we see as dew on the grass in the morning, like the dew in the morning. Well, that dew is just water vapors or gas that has gone through the process of condensation, cooled down, its molecules slowing down, and begin to form a liquid or dew sitting upon the grass or the leaves. Now, that liquid form of water didn't just come out of nowhere. It was the reformation or the reverse reformation of the vapors or the gas of H2O, molecules slown, now creating this water, liquid water, dew, or condensation. This condensation or liquid, as you know, water, this is how we get the oceans and the seas and the rivers and rain and all of these other things. You can take that liquid form now and begin to freeze it. This is the process where liquid cools down to its freezing point, losing its energy even further and solidifying itself into a solid state. For water, this occurs at 0 Celsius or 32 degrees Fahrenheit, just as it does when you're trying to melt. When the temperature falls down to 0 Celsius or 32 degrees Fahrenheit, then water begins to solidify and become a solid. When liquid water is cooled, its molecules slow down and they arrange themselves into a structure, solid form, which we see as ice. You notice that whenever the temperature drops below 32 degrees, they always tell you to turn on your faucets in your house to keep the water moving and flowing so that your pipes don't freeze. Why? Because if water is stagnant under that temperature, it solidifies and becomes ice. The ice expands and will burst your pipes. But if water that is kinetic, that is in motion, constantly moving, maintains the molecule movement, its energy. Okay, the molecule movement, that heat, that energy that keeps it from becoming solid. So they tell you, let the water drip from the fountain to keep that kinetic energy moving so that the water does not form into a solid. But we see from this example that water that begins as a solid, ice, can become a liquid, water, which can become a vapor or gas. Okay? But it can also, in the reverse, go from being a gas through condensation, become a liquid, and through freezing, become a solid, ice. As above, so below. Are you following what I'm saying? This reverse engineering takes those molecules that always exist in some form and now shapes it into the form that best serves us. Whether it's steam to help us lose weight and release toxins from the body, or it's liquid as water that hydrates us and keeps us healthy, or as ice that cools our drinks and gives us, if you flavor it, gives us like squeeze cups and ices and other things that are really nice and preserves other foods. We get to determine by either forward or reverse engineering to bring this ice into whatever state that we desire that serves our interests at the time. And we can encounter all three simultaneously. You can have ice that's in the liquid water that has condensation dew running down the side, and if left, will eventually evaporate into a gas. Take a glass of water, sit it on your table, and just leave it. Leave it there. And over a period of time, in a matter of days, you will come back and find that the glass is empty, that the water has evaporated. You guys following what I'm saying? Makes sense, right? So heat adds energy to the substance, allowing the molecules to move more freely, transitioning from a solid to liquid, that's melting, or the liquid to gas, which is evaporation or boiling. Cooling removes that energy, causing the molecules to slow down and stick together more closely, leading to transition from gas to liquid to a solid that we call ice. This reversibility is fundamental in the natural process, such as the water cycle, where water continuously moves between its solid as ice to liquid to gas and vapor, gassy states, driven by the change in temperature and the change in pressure. Now, traditionally, we think of events as following a particular sequence where cause always leads to an effect. We think along those lines because that's the way we have been taught. Even those who are spiritual, metaphysical, think in terms of cause preceding effect. That if you can discover the root cause, you can produce the desired effect. That if you discover and replicate the seeds of causation, you will always get the desired effect or the corresponding effect of the seed of causation. If you locate what caused it, then the effect is natural. It consequently and sequentially will follow the seed of causation. Okay? But it just seems natural. And that is the traditional way of thinking. Okay? However, the effect is just as powerful as the cause. And just like ice can become vapor and then reverse engineer and the vapor becomes ice, you can also locate the effect, replicate the effect, and produce the solid causation. This is the law of reversibility. You can replicate the effect, reproduce the effect, and it will inevitably lead to the causation. The reality of the causation is formed by you replicating the effect. Here's the application: through thought or manifestation. Again, regardless to those who think that manifestation is like some kind of witchcraft, it's not witchcraft. And I'm going to show you, it's in your Bible. There are biblical principles that supports the law of reversibility that we are talking about this morning. According to the law of reversibility, if you want to manifest a certain outcome in your life, you should first adapt the feeling and the mental state that would accompany the achievement of the outcome. In other words, you adapt the effect. How would you feel if you were successful, rich, wealthy, had more than enough? How would you feel if your business was successful and booming and blowing up? How would you feel if your family was healthy and functional? How would you feel if you physically were healthy and physically fit and strong? The law of reversibility says that I can either operate from the place of causation leading to the effect, or reversibility, I can begin with the effect that I desire that will bring to formation the causality. Bring into my reality what I have desired by my embracing the ultimate effect and outcome from the beginning. By consistently maintaining the mental state, that mental state of feeling, of thinking, of being, the external circumstances around you will eventually align with what you are thinking and what you are feeling. Here's another universal law that you've heard before, you've heard from me before. Your outer world of form and experience is a reflection of your inner world of thought and feeling. This is the law of reversibility. It says that I am going to reverse engineer the desired effect by the desired causation, the desired reality, by adapting and embracing the effect that the cause would eventually bring about. I adapt the causation. The effect first. I adapt the thought, the mindset, the belief, and the corresponding feelings. Feelings are the magnet of the soul. It magnetizes your thoughts, it magnetizes your desires. When you engage your feelings and determine through intention and deliberate action to embrace and enjoy the feeling that you would have for the thing that you desire, then it magnetizes what you are visualizing, wishing, or thinking or holding as your dominant thought. It magnetizes it and begins to draw together the elements that are necessary to bring it into solid formation. You see, what you wish, what you desire, what you are hoping for already exists. It exists like the water as a vapor, as a gas, invisible to your natural eye. But you're adapting and embracing the thought, the wish, the idea, and the corresponding feelings then begins to magnify and magnetize and sends that vibrational frequency into the universe that now gathers the molecules, the elements necessary to bring into solid formation what you have envisioned, dreamed, or wished or hoped for. Faith is the essence, the power of my expectation, the thing that I have hoped for. And it provides me condensation, the evidence that what I'm hoping for really does exist. Your faith provides and presents you with condensation, evidence that what you are hoping for, all the elements exist, and it's just a matter of time and process that the gas that has become condensation or liquid form will eventually become the solid reality in which I live. Are you understanding what I'm saying to you? The Apostle Paul posits this particular theory in Philippians chapter 4, verse 8. Listen to what he says. Finally, brethren, whatever things are true, whatsoever things are honest, whatsoever things are just, whatsoever things are pure, whatsoever things are lovely, whatsoever things are good, are of good report, if there be any virtue and if there be any praise, he says, think on these things. He tells you to think about them, visualize them, hope for them, desire them, wish for them. Whatever is good, lovely, pure, whatever is of good report, whatever is of praise, whatever is true, whatever your truth is, he says, think on it, focus on it, deliberately give your attention to it, embrace it as your reality, see it as your lived experience, feel the feelings that you would feel if the solid experience was sitting right before you. He says, think about it, hold it in your mind. Peter further confirms this when he says, gird up, protect, fortify, The loins, the word loins there is an Asian word, one of the few Asian words in the Bible that literally means the reproductive powers or forces. Gird up or protect, be deliberate, intentional, and careful about the creative power of your mind. Gird up the loins of your mind and be sober, be clear, be intentional, be definite, be deliberate. That's what 1 Peter chapter 1, I think it's verse 13, the A part. Gird up the loins of your mind. Be intentional, be deliberate, be sober. Guard and protect and solidify the creative forces and power of your conscious thought, because he understood and recognized the law of reversibility. He understood the power of your mind to imagine, wish, hope, and hold a truth in itself that does not yet appear in our natural reality or three-dimensional existence. But that if I hold on to this thought with intensity and I lean into the feeling of its reality, then the eventuality of manifestation is inevitable. Are y'all hearing what I'm saying? It is inevitable. If I think on these things, thou shalt keep them in perfect or complete peace, wholeness, nothing missing, nothing broken, whose mind, listen to what he says, whose mind remains elevated in higher consciousness, thinking upon the things of God. If I just simply hold my thoughts in a positive vibrational state, if I hold on to the idea, the wish, the hope, and lean into the feeling, the emotional feeling that comes from having it, then I am reverse engineering what I desire, because that energy vibrational frequency that I am radiating from me magnetically now grabs hold to the elements or molecules of the thing that I desire that already exists in the world, in the universe, and begins to pull them together, slowing those molecules down until they begin to form into the reality that I began to create right here in my thoughts and my feelings. So my outer world of experience, my outer world of experience and form becomes the reflection of my inner world of thought and feelings. That I am using the law of reversibility and I am reverse engineering the life that I desire. Are you understanding what I'm saying? If you desire success in your career, in your life, in your spiritual journey and growth, in whatever it is that you desire success, instead of waiting for the external validation to feel successful, you embody the feeling of success right now. You embody the feeling of having it right now. You hold it in your thoughts, in your desire, in your wish, in your vision, as though you have it right now. This mental state will influence your thoughts, your words, and your actions, your decisions, and your interactions, which will lead to the manifestation of the real world success that you've imagined. People tell you stop daydreaming. I'm telling you to keep daydreaming. I'm telling you to keep imagining, keep wishing, keep hoping, and summon the corresponding feeling that magnetizes what you are dreaming, wishing, envisioning, and hoping for. That then dictates your thoughts, words, deeds, actions, your intentions, and interactions, which will ultimately lead into the solid ice, the manifestation of the real world existence of what began as a wish. This, ladies and gentlemen, is actually the power of prayer. That spiritual practice of prayer is empowered by this law of reversibility. Prayer is kind of like, it's akin to sleep without actually being sleep. It is coming to the entrance of sleep without actually crossing over into the subconscious state of being asleep. Jesus explains it like this. He explains it in the same way. He says in Matthew chapter 6, when you pray, listen to what he says. Listen to what he says allegorically, but he is giving us an example of what it means to enter into this state of subconsciousness akin to sleep. He says, when you pray, enter into your closet. Now, he wasn't talking about where you hang your clothes. He wasn't talking about, the places where you hang your coats and your jackets when you come through the door. He was talking about going inward. Enter into your secret chamber, your closet. Go inward into your conscious and subconscious mind. Enter into that state that is right at the door of sleep, between sleep and awakeness, that transcended state. He says, go into that place and close the door. That is, shut yourself into that place. And then he says, pray or make your supplication in that place. And what the Father sees and hears in secret, he says, your Father which is in secret shall reward you openly. What you have established, created, and cultivated in that closet, in your subconscious state, in that transcendent state of mind, he says, what you have cultivated, created, and engendered with the corresponding feeling that magnifies, then the Father then will take that vision, that hope, that wish, that desire, and bring it into three-dimensional existence. Well, we know that the Father that is hearing and as it is metaphorically put, the Father that hears and sees in secret rewards you openly. Well, where does the Father reside? Not up above us in the sky and in the cloud, but God lives in us, through us, and as us. So as we turn inward and go into that secret closet, that space of transcendence within our own subconscious mind, the God within us hears, sees, notices, and takes note and begins the work of radiating the energy into the universe, into the atmosphere, into this three-dimensional world, to pull together the molecules that are necessary to bring into tangible reality a presentation of that which you imagined and felt and wished and hoped for. Faith, the substance of what you have hoped for. Neville Goddard, in his book, The Feeling is the Secret, says it like this. He suggests that prayer is an illusion of sleep which diminishes the impressions of the outer world and renders the mind more receptive to the suggestions that flow from within. The mind in prayer is in a state of relaxation and receptivity akin to the feeling attained just before you fall off to sleep. So, prayer, he says, is not so much what you ask for as much as it is what you began to prepare for and prepare for its reception. Catch that last part. That prayer is not so much what you are asking or supplicating for as it is what you are preparing for its reception. Jesus, in another place, is purported to have said it like this. It's Mark chapter 11, verse 24. Whatsoever things you desire, whatever things you are hoping for, whatever thing you are wishing for, whatever thing that you are envisioning, he says, believe that you receive them, and you shall have them. Believe at the point of hope, wish, desire, and visualization. Believe that you have it right then. How do I convince myself that I have it right then? By engendering or summoning the corresponding feeling of having and being. Are you hearing me? Jesus is promoting the law of reversibility. He says, whatever thing you are desirous of, whatever you're hoping for, whatever you're visualizing, whatever it is that you're wishing for, whatever it is that you're trying to bring into three-dimensional form, when you pray, he says, here is what you do. Prepare to receive it. Put yourself in the state of consciousness of having it. Put yourself in the state of mind of being it, of it already being done and fulfilled. Feel it. Lean into that feeling. Imagine it, see it, taste it, anticipate it, expect it. Behave as though it is. Put yourself in the conscious state of being and having. And he says, if you do so, then you will, by consequence, by adapting the effect, you create the solid causation. You create the reality of its existence in three-dimensional form. Woo! Are y'all hearing what I'm saying to you? Are you understanding this law of reversibility? The only requirement that Jesus himself gives in this particular text is that you believe that your prayers have already been realized, that you have what you desire, that you are what you desire, that it is already present, that you lean into that feeling, the feeling, the emotion, the mindset of having and being whatever it is that you desire. And he says, if you believe that you receive it, you shall experience the three-dimensional form of what you desire. Are you hearing what I'm saying? You sitting here thinking right now, I don't have the money for this, and I don't have the resources for this, and I don't have the cash flow to be able to get this or that or the other. You don't need to have it in the natural. You have what it takes to create the natural formation, because you have your dream, your wish, your hope, your desire, your expectation, and your anticipation. You have to simply get the vision. For without a vision, you begin to spoil, go bad, perish. You begin to adapt to the world around you, and you allow the external to dictate the internal, when in fact it should be the other way around. It should be reverse engineered. What does it feel like in your imagination to be financially stable and free? What does it feel like to be abundant and wealthy and rich? What does it feel like to be healthy physically in your body, in your emotions, in your thoughts, in your mental state? What does it feel like? Lean into that feeling and hold on to the belief that you are that. I am wealthy, abundant, prosperous. I am healthy mentally, spiritually, emotionally. Lean into the feeling. How would you act? How would you feel? How would you behave if those things were your reality? Well, lean into that and you create that reality first within, and then it is reflected without. You reverse engineered it. Are you hearing what I'm saying? Your prayers have to be answered if you assume the feeling that you would have if what you are praying for was already in your possession, was already your possession. If you assume the feeling and the thought that it is already yours, then your prayer becomes effectual and fervent, and it avails much. It produces a reality that reflects what you are holding as your dominant thought. This is the law of reversibility. It is saying I am starting with the effect to create the cause. I am starting with the reaping in order to produce the sowing. What does it feel like to have money? You remember when you've had money before, whether it was just an influx of cash that came on payday or came from your income tax return. How did you feel? Hold on to that feeling. Imagine yourself in that state mentally always. See yourself as being wealthy, stable, financially secure. Feel it. Lean into that feeling. That feeling and state of mind will begin to dictate your thoughts, your words, and your actions, which are the process of manifestation. We've learned this before. It will dictate your thoughts, words, and actions, which will ultimately bring about the reality or the manifestation of what only existed as a dream, a wish, an idea, a thought, or a vision in your conscious mind. Everything begins with vision. Everything begins with a thought. It is accompanied by the feeling that corresponds to the thought. Now, this works on what we would call the positive or the negative. You know this. If you think negatively, you lean into those feelings of negativity, you create a reality that reflects that negativity. If you think you can't, then you won't. If you think that you are, then you are. As a man thinketh, watch this, in his heart, cardio, passions, feelings, so is he. As a man imagines, hopes, dreams, thinks, believes, with the corresponding passion, feeling, his heart creates the reality. Believe that you receive it and you shall have it. Things don't ever work for me. Well, they never will. There ain't no good men or good women out there, and you'll never encounter any. Nobody loves me, and you'll never experience true love. Are you understanding what I'm saying? You are creating your reality. You are creating your world. You are creating your existence. It may not be the reality for everyone else because everyone gets to create their own reality, but it becomes your reality. And so you are looking out from your reality that you have created and seeing others enjoying a different reality. And now you think, here's that self-fulfilling prophecy. Well, God, must be something wrong with me. God don't love me the same. I see he doing it for them, ain't doing it for me. There's that whole victim consciousness. And all you're doing is reinforcing those destructive, disempowering ideas, thoughts, and feelings, which result in your enacting the cycle of reverse engineering the reality that you've imagined within your mind. But you can stop right now, today, in this place, right at this moment, and begin to shift your mindset and transform your life by the renewing, by the anachronosis, by the shifting of what you hold to be your truth in your mind, and summoning and embracing the corresponding feelings so you're able to reverse engineer the reality that you desire. Without even starting with the seeds of causation, you become the causation by adapting the effect. Woo! Goodness, did you catch that? I said you become the causation by adapting and embracing and living in the reality of the effect. If you live in the conscious, subconscious reality of the effect, you in turn become the causation that creates the tangible reality of what you've imagined. Are you hearing what I'm saying? I'm getting excited. I got to try and stay calm. I'm almost done. Good day. Woo! So you see, a prayer is the art of assuming the feelings of being and having that which you desire. Effectual, fervent prayer is not begging in supplication of, oh Lord, please, Lord, if it be thy will, oh God, if you don't mind, Lord, I need you, Lord, come thy Jesus, if you don't stay long, God, I'm waiting on you, I'm calling on you, God, waiting on you to work a miracle in my life. Oh Lord, please, Jesus. It's not begging and pleading and waiting and supplicating. It is now adapting your mindset, yielding to the place of knowing that you have and you are being what you desire, and then it becomes effectual and fervent. I am maintaining a consistent mindset and corresponding feeling of having and being. That is effective and fervent. That is effective because it aligns itself harmoniously with the law, and fervent because it is consistent, perpetual, and ongoing. And so that's what effective and fervent means. And so if I am effective and fervent, then it will avail much or produce a three-dimensional reflection, a tangible reality of what it is that I have effectively and fervently prayed. It's not all that slobbing and hollering and speaking in tongues and rolling on the floor and moaning and grunting and grinding and all of that. That's all emotional hype. It is simply your adapting your mindset to being and having and engendering and leaning into embracing the feelings that correspond to what you are being and having. And the reverse engineering begins. By embracing the effect, you become the causation that creates the reality that you desire. Man, did y'all get what I just said right there? I don't know if I'm breaking through to y'all this morning or not, or if, you guys are off in la-la land and not really catching on to what I'm saying. But I'm giving you the practical application of principles, especially for you church folk, biblical principles that you have read and heard your entire life, but not understood how they work. Think on these things. Engage your mind. Engage your thoughts in the things you desire, wish, hope, and want to bring into your reality. Think on whatever is good, whatever is of good report, whatever is pure, whatever is lovely, whatever is peaceful, whatever is, all of those things that you desire to have in your life, whatever is functional, whatever is abundant, whatever is prosperous. Think on these things and you'll be kept in completeness, perfect peace, if you keep your thoughts elevated upon the divine that lives within you. And then when you pray, don't beg, plead, and slobber and spit, but believe that you receive. Adapt and embrace the idea of having and being with the corresponding feeling, and you shall have that which you have prayed. You can call those things that be not as though they were. By simply, when you pray, you're yielding to to the state of having and being by going into your secret closet, going inward into your higher consciousness, going into your inner self and reverse engineering what it is that you hope, desire, wish, or want to bring into reality. Reverse engineer it. Embrace the effect and you become the cause. Embrace the effect and you become the seed of causation that creates a tangible reality that reflects what you are thinking and feeling within. Your outer world of thought and feeling are a reflection of your inner world of thought and feel. I know it sounds too simple to be real, but it is. This is the way that the divine has set the universe in place because all things are synergistically working together for our good. So these laws, the law of reversibility, along with the law of cause and effect, the law of sowing and reaping, and all of the other laws are there to serve us. So use that law to manipulate the energy that exists, that is flowing out of you and to you and through you to reverse engineer what it is that you desire. Don't wait to get it. Walter Hawkins says, don't wait till the battle is over. Shout now. Same principle. Don't wait till it shows up to act like and feel like you have it already. Think and feel like it's already done, and it will materialize. Are you understanding what I'm saying? Yes. Thank you, Daniel. Daniel says, reversibility is only possible by also embracing the mind-gripping practices that will help you to achieve what you desire. Okay? That's exactly right. I said that earlier, Daniel. He says that it already exists in the quantum field. It absolutely does. In a sense, Mr. McClurkin was actually right, even though he wasn't intentionally right. He was really speaking out of asinine stupidity and tradition, calling it witchcraft. But at its essence, he was right. We don't create with our mind. We bring into formation what already exists. Let me say that again. We don't create with our thoughts and our minds and our words. We bring into formation that which already exists. Creation was already completed. Everything that ever will be already is. We simply have to now learn how to manipulate the energy through our thoughts and our words and our deeds and our feelings to bring it into a solid, tangible form within our reality. It already exists. So we are essentially creating, using that term, through formation. You are pulling out of thin air. Yes, out of the quantum field, you are pulling out of thin air that which already is and bringing it into tangible formation by simply following the law of reversibility. By simply following these spiritual principles, believe that you receive it and you shall have it. Call those things that be not to the naked eye as though they were. Faith being the substance of the thing that I am hoping, dreaming, wishing, desiring, visualizing for. Expecting and anticipating, and then providing me with the condensation, the evidence that what I'm hoping for really does exist, that I'm on the right track, and it is now going from vapor and gas to liquid, from liquid to solid. Are you hearing what I'm saying? Are you getting what I'm saying? Does it make sense to you? Okay? I love when Daniel comes on. Daniel says, in order for manifestation to occur, the subject body must become a vibrational match for that which they desire to be, have, or do. Exactly. That's what I'm saying. You align yourself with, lean into the feeling of being and having. Align yourself harmoniously with that vibrational energy of what it is that you desire to bring into manifestation. And it ultimately will form right in front of you. Are you understanding what I'm saying to you? This is how you create your world. This is how you use the law of reversibility in concert with the law of cause and effect and all the other universal laws to create the world and the reality that you live in. You're nobody's victim. You are not subject to the whims and the ebbs and flows and the dysfunction of the world around you. You get to create your own reality, your own world, and the world that you choose to live in. We all live in the matrix of the reality that we create for ourselves. Whew. And I'm done. I went 17 minutes over today instead of 30 minutes over. That's a little better. Okay, I'm done. I do, Daniel, and I will be glad to send you. I'll inbox you and I'll shoot you a couple of books. I was actually talking about a book by Neville Goddard that actually speaks to this particular principle. It's called "The Feeling is the Secret." It's a very powerful book. It's not long either. It's a very thin book. It's an easy read. You can read it in one setting, take you a couple of hours, if that long. And you'll flow right through it. And there's several others. There's one that's called The Man Who Talked to Flowers. That's just absolutely engaging and powerful. That talks about reverse engineering and the law of reversibility. I'll send you a list. Yeah, Neville is phenomenal. I love Neville. He is absolutely phenomenal. One of my favorite authors. But I'll send you a list, bro. I definitely will. Okay? All right. Thank you for tuning in. Thank you for being a part of this broadcast. Listen, I'm going to ask you to sow a seed this morning in support of this platform to help us to continue to grow and expand this particular platform and reach so many other people. There are so many other things that we could still be doing right now in order to expand our reach, but we need your support. We need your help. And this is a good place for you to sow seed. This is good ground where you'll be able to get a return on the seeds that are sown and your sacrifices that are made here. So I'm going to ask you to use whichever one of these vehicles that you see on your screen that is available to you or that you feel comfortable with to sow a generous seed this morning. I'm not telling you how much to give. I'm not telling you how little to give. I'm telling you to give what in your mind is generous and that corresponds to the value that you gain from being a part of this conscious conversation. If you've been blessed by it, you've learned from it, you've grown from it, if it has expanded your consciousness and giving you a new perception, then I'm asking you to support it and show how much how valuable this platform is, how much you value the information you've received by sowing a generous seed. Do it right now. Use your Zelle, your CashApp, PayPal, or Venmo to sow your seed or make your sacrifice right now. Those of you who are partners, you know what we ask of you to do. Be consistent and follow through. Follow the financial fitness plan, and you know what the outcome will be. Man, in our next partners gathering, I'm going to have Diana to testify. She's got a testimony. Woo, glory. She's going to testify in general, not specifics, but about how the financial fitness plan works and how it has changed her life. So anyway, we'll get back to that with the partners. And if you're not a partner, I encourage you to become one. The information is in the description above. All you have to do is just send your email requesting partner information, and we'll send it right out to you. As soon as you read it, sign the partner agreement, you are in. That's all it takes. Thank you so much for tuning in. I appreciate each and every one of you, and I look forward to sharing with you again on next week, right here on the Emerge Empowerment Session. Have a great day, everybody.
Some of you are even afraid to dream, afraid to imagine. But I'm here to tell you that you are an infinite, limitless, boundless being. Are you willing to do what is necessary to have what you desire?
You've been listening to Apostle Isaac Miles, the disruptive innovator, a mentor, an author, a motivational speaker, an entrepreneur, and the founder and spiritual director at emergelec Life Enrichment Center. Please take a minute to subscribe, like, and share this page. If you'd like to become a partner, you can do so by emailing us at emerge.lifecenter@gmail.com. Again, that's emerge.lifecenter@gmail.com. Once again, Thank you for watching.